Hey there, Laker fans. Welcome to another episode of Lakers Detailed. Last night, the Lakers beat the Warriors, and Rui Hachimura was unavailable to play. And it was the first game back in over a year that Jared Vanderbilt had returned. He ended up coming up off the bench. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was just kind of how his small efforts, even in the 12 minutes that he played, helped impact us, but not in terms of like him just being back helping the Lakers out, because that's kind of an obvious way of looking at things. But what are the small things he did that might show up in counting stats and don't show up in counting stats that ended up being successful in helping the Lakers? That's what I really wanted to cover with this video. So that's the goal, to help folks understand exactly those small things that are required for the Lakers to be successful in this situation. So we're going to jump around between the fourth quarter and the second quarter when Vanderbilt was on the floor in these minutes. And so the Lakers deployed him next to Dorian Finney-Smith, next to LeBron James, or sometimes with Dorian Finney-Smith next to Anthony Davis. And Vando's efforts, both as a 4 and as a small ball 5 for the Lakers, was super, super helpful. And I think it's something that's really important, that the Laker fans should always keep in mind, because it's the small efforts that make the biggest difference. And the small efforts is really where the Lakers have been lacking. So let's take a look at some of this from the jump. So when we take a look at this possession here in the fourth quarter, it's a very simple possession. Like, this is stuff that anybody can clip and show to you guys, that we see. This is just Jared playing small ball center, letting Austin know that he's got his back over here, waiting to see what Dennis decides to do. And then when Dennis goes for the pass, he just accurately ends up going out his way to steal it, get his hands on it, gives it up to Braun in transition. Braun gets an easy layup. So super, super simple stuff. It's nothing, that kind of stuff is obvious. We've always known that Vando's capable of doing stuff like that. But where is it that he's really, really helped the Lakers out and been able to sort of fix things that might not necessarily show up in the stat sheet? So let's take a look at it here in the second quarter. So watch where Vando ends up starting. So Vando here is below, like he's behind the play over here completely, right? So he goes for the offensive rebound, gets pushed in the back by Gui Santos, and now the Warriors are about to be off and running. So this is with Anthony Davis on the floor too as well. He's with Dorian Finney-Smith. This is a transition play that shows up. Now, the thing that I want you to watch here is where Vando is when this play starts, and then where Austin Reaves is as he's checking the ball here. So Austin Reaves stops to pick up the ball and get the ball out of Steph Curry's hands, right? And so Steph advances it over to Andrew Wiggins, overthrows it, so Wiggins has to chase it down. But by the time Wiggins gets the ball, Vando's the one who makes the steal, because Wiggins realizes that he can't throw this pass. If we rewind this back a little bit, you can see Wiggins doesn't really have a passing angle to Gui Santos, because he's got to throw it over Max and Dorian Finney-Smith, because they correctly kind of remove him the easiest pass for him. So if you guys remember when we watched that play that everybody was upset at Rui Hachimura in the playoffs, that was a play where he sort of left Michael Porter Jr. uncovered because he went to the ball as opposed to staying on his assignment. Vando, if we rewind it back even a little bit further, you'll notice that once Austin Reaves gets the ball out of Steph's hands, he stops running with him. See in the back here, he's not with him. And so because Vando continues to run down, and he kind of realizes, again, defensive IQ, Vando realizes that Wiggins has only one place he can really pass the ball because of the angle that he's trying to take to save this ball. He knows it's going to go to Steph. So he immediately runs in the direction of Steph as Andrew Wiggins is midair, and ends up stealing this ball. And then you'll see Dorian Finney-Smith right here just pointing down, letting Vando know that Austin Reaves is open to push the ball up the floor. So like, that is the kind of thing, like, it shows up in the counting stat, but the actual effort, the amount of effort it takes to run down the floor when you're the last guy down and to finish the transition possession, like, that might just be like, hey, Vando did a great job being there to take that steal, but really he's covering for Austin, who fell asleep in transition after forcing Steph to give up the ball. So let's take a look at what happens here. Again, an effort from Vando that makes it easier for his teammates to be successful. So he's playing small ball center here against Kevon Looney and Steph Curry. And he's not quite at the level of the ball, but he's right at a place where he can either, if Steph tries to slip this, Vando can steal it, or he doesn't have to. And so this comes off of a pitch that Dennis Schroeder gives to Steph Curry. And so DFS goes and chases him down. And so because DFS knows that he can trust Vando to manage this situation or to make a decision it makes it easier for his teammates, right? It makes it easier for DFS to make the decision that he has to do. So as soon as he sees Vando flatten out and he sees Steph pull up here, it's very, very simple basketball. All DFS has to do is box out Kevon Looney. But this goes a level further, right? Vando wasn't necessarily the guy that completely challenged Steph. Steph is a world-class shooter. Vando doesn't give up on the play. It ends up being a long rebound, and Braun is here in this situation to battle with Kevon Looney. And instead of it being a one-on-one battle for that long rebound, right? Because if Vando's not in this spot, Kevon could tip this out to Wiggins, tip it to Schroeder, maybe it goes to Moses Moody. But because Vando's in that spot, Vando comes back and he clears the ball. So making it easier for a DFS to make the read, to make the decision to box out Looney because he's staying disciplined. There's no confusion going back and forth. That's something that Vando brings to the team. But also that extra effort coming back to crash the glass defensively also limits some of those extra opportunities. This possession here happens in the second quarter. This again, Vando playing small ball in this LeBron unit next to Dorian Finney-Smith. So because he's playing small ball and he's going to the rim, Vando is one of those guys who put pressure on the offensive glass. So Pajinski has to come and push Vando in the back. Again, I don't know why these refs don't just call these. These are very obvious pushes, but they don't. And Pajinski pushes Vando in the back to get out of his hands. So Braun gets this play instead. So you see Austin's wide open, but look who also comes in to join the party, right? Like we roll it back. Dorian Finney-Smith is in that corner because he's running his lanes, and the shot ends up being a miss. And guess what? Guess what happens? Vando pressures, doesn't get it, and now Dorian Finney-Smith wants to join the party too. So now he's pushing Dennis Schroeder all the way underneath the rim. The Warriors are trying to play small, and the Lakers are actually forcing them to have to, like, using their size and physicality to hurt them, which is something that we've seen hurt the Lakers many times going the other way. So it's kind of cool to see that. So what ends up happening at the end of the play? You end up basically having a 2-on-1 offensive rebounding opportunity. So either Braun's making this, or either Dorian Finney-Smith or Vando are grabbing this rebound. And in this situation, Vando gets the tip back. And it's great to see Vando get up above the rim. Like last year, I want to say when he came back from injury, he didn't look as explosive. And I think this game, he's looked much more explosive, closer to what he normally is. And so that's really, really great to see. And so we see that sort of effort show up. You see it in transition. You see it in different situations like that. So I want to show you one last possession. Again, this is going to be a possession where it's the small thing that makes the big difference. And you might not necessarily see a counting stat attached to it, but it is a crucial thing that helps the Lakers out. Remember, when I've done other videos, I've said one of the biggest issues the Lakers have in transition defense is they don't stop the ball. They do a horrendous job stopping the ball. So here's a play with Anthony Davis. You see Dorian Finney-Smith, Vando, Max, Gabe. These are four very high motor defensive guys that we have on the floor next to Anthony Davis. Let's see what happens. AD loses the ball. And as soon as he loses the ball goes directly to Brandon Pajinski. So Pajinski's job is to go push this ball down the floor to create an advantage for the Lakers. But because Vando's running back, what does he do? He automatically stops the ball. He forces Pajinski to pick up the ball and stops it at half court. The momentum that Golden State tries to create, which they're really, really good at because they play small, they play fast, and they've got shooting, it's now like it's reduced. It's eliminated to some degree when this happens. So now you get the ball out of Pajinski's hands. So now that's one guy that's a three-point threat that's out of the way. And he's wiped him out completely, right? Pajinski's out of the play. So now look at who you have on the floor that you have to make the offense with. It's Dennis Schroeder, Trace Jackson Davis, Rui Santos, and Andrew Wiggins. But because the ball gets eliminated out of this situation, even though Trace Jackson Davis is further down the floor, again, Gabe can read what's happened on this play. Oh, okay. Brandon Pajinski's giving up the ball. I can go and leave the corner, and I can go and help off of Rui Santos. And because he goes to help off of Rui Santos, he can gamble on this steal. And Gabe's able to gamble on the steal, get a strip, and the end of the possession ends up being an Anthony Davis defensive rebound. So when we think about the stuff that Vando does or the stuff that Vando brings that allows the Lakers to be successful, sometimes it does show up in the counting stats, but sometimes it's just stuff that helps the other defensive players on the Lakers team be more successful. Sometimes it's covering up for situations like when Austin Reeves falls asleep in transition defense, and it's just stopping the ball in transition defense. But this kind of defensive discipline ends up allowing the Lakers to be very successful in the long run. And when we talk about winning on the margins, this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about. You have DFS, a guy who helps call out rotations. He literally pushes guys in the direction that they're actually supposed to rotate when they fall asleep. And then you get a guy like Vando who does that and then more. because of his physical ability. So it was great to see Vando come back. I think the Lakers are going to have a very good problem coming up soon where they have too many wings and they have to figure out how many minutes they have to allocate for them. Hopefully, if the Lakers get a couple soft matchups, Charlotte, Philly, Washington, it affords guys like LeBron and AD some rest if they have to squeeze in some minutes for Rui as like sort of a scoring option. So it's a good problem for JJ to have. So I'll be very curious to see how they manage to do this. But it's great to see Jared Vanderbilt back. It's great to see him eventually, hopefully we'll see how his body responds to being back in live basketball. Dorian Finney-Smith is working his way back up to playing 30 minutes a night. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see what sort of combinations, lineup combinations JJ can figure out for this team. And we get a better idea of what this team actually looks like offensively, defensively, when it comes to the trade deadline and whatnot. So as always, I appreciate all the folks. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate all the support that we get on Lakers Detailed, and appreciate all the support that you guys give me and the support that you give Raj. So wherever you're watching this, I hope you're having a wonderful day. And if nothing else, I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.